Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, in one of my most recent videos, I had made the statement that if I were China regarding Taiwan, what I would do would be to, take steps. What I was getting at was to stop Taiwan from being able to produce microchips. And, now I did say that I would send in-ground troops announced in advance with the purpose in advance of taking all of the microchips and shutting down the factories, the foundries. Well, I was thinking about it more last night, and China, that would come with the risk of military confrontation, and of course the United States would get involved with that. So China, I started thinking China's going to do this in a way that does not involve even the risk of a military confrontation. So, so what I actually wrote, I expect, this is what I said, one note that was intended to be for this video today. I wrote this last night. I expect that China may well restrict Taiwanese exports, exports of minerals to Taiwan. I worded that badly. But exports of minerals to Taiwan for microchip production. All right, so then guess what comes up in the news today? China suspends natural sand exports to Taiwan. Why is this important? Because microchips are made from silicon. Silicon is made from sand. Sand is silicon. Natural sand is silicon. Without natural sand, Taiwan cannot produce microchips. So this takes a major step in shutting down the Taiwanese economy, at least for export. They cannot produce microchips without sand. They're not going to allow sand to be shipped in from other countries either. You can count on that. All right, so not only that, but they also temporarily halted imports of some food products from Taiwan, according to two Taiwanese ministries. This is basically fruits and some fish that are major export materials that come from Taiwan and are shipped to the mainland, to mainland China. So there it is. They just did this. I also expect that they will cease all exports to Taiwan of rare earth minerals, which are also needed for microchip production. So even if they get the sand, without the rare earth minerals, they're not going to be able to produce microchips, period. And I've pointed out before, most of the Taiwanese export trade occurs with mainland China. So if mainland China cuts off trade with them, they're left with, a huge cut in their trade. But if you cut off their ability to even produce what is their major export, which is the microchips, then you've destroyed their economy. So Taiwan is going to have to sit down and start talking. So how does this affect the United States? Well, since we import so many microchips from Taiwan and from China, then, and the U.S. military depends so heavily on microchips, well, this shuts down the military production for advanced technologies. This shuts down car production. This shuts down everything of advanced technology that is compiled, not produced, compiled in the United States. Because these things aren't actually made here, they're just compiled. It's not we don't do manufacturing in this country anymore. We do assembly of parts that we import from elsewhere. All right, so elsewhere in the news, Russia is basically saying that they're just going to cut off all diplomatic ties with us and all trade with us. You may think that this is not important, but look, we've already shot ourselves in the foot regarding, putting sanctions on oil and gas regarding Russia. Europe is not going to be able to maintain what they've been doing for much longer, especially by the time winter comes along. They're just not going to be able to do that. Even if we're trying to export things, look at the fact that we've had several oil refineries that have had explosions, fires, been unable to produce for export. And right now, a report just came out that Americans are driving less right now this summer than they have even in summer of 2020. That is a reflection of what our economy is actually doing. So there we go. You shut down the import of microchips and you're going to affect the economy even further. So this, again, we shot ourselves in the foot, and that's only going to get worse. The more oil that India buys from Russia, the less they're going to buy from us or Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is buying Russian oil and then turning around and selling it at a higher price. So that means they haven't really increased production, and they're probably not going to. When Biden went and spoke with, Mohammed bin Salman, fist bump bullshit, it was to ask. He went there because they wouldn't pick up the phone when he tried to call them, by the way. So, they've agreed to increase their production to 13 million barrels a day which is barely an increase at all, and it's no increase at all over what they were already planning to do. So that all that trip amounted to was Biden cowering, groveling at the feet of the Saudis, and then turning around and making a deal to sell them more weapons so that they can continue their genocide in Yemen. So, more and more countries are applying for membership in the BRICS system, the international trade system, payment system, which is an alternative to the SWIFT system, which is dominated by the United States and by the system by which we can place sanctions and limits, tell Russia that they can't use U.S. dollars and so forth. So BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. The more countries that sign on to this system, the more likely it becomes that they will eventually withdraw from the SWIFT system. If you just count India, South Africa, and China, this alone is accounting for roughly half of the global population. With South American countries and Middle Eastern countries signing on to the BRICS system, then there are going to be more of the global population that will be represented under the BRICS system than under the SWIFT system if these countries start withdrawing. Under the BRICS system, they are starting to discuss an alternative currency for international trade to the U.S. dollar to take away the power of the U.S. dollar being the reserve global currency. What is this going to do to the dollar? It will make the dollar collapse. They've been working on this since 2012, and it looks like it's about to happen. So, there you have it. It is about time that we engage in diplomacy, stop shooting ourselves in the foot, and stop trying to use militarism against every other country on earth, because we cannot afford, either financially, economically, or emotionally, or with manpower. We cannot afford to continue waging all of the wars that we're waging. And our economy is going to collapse. It's in the process of that right now. Right now, you see the stock market going up, but this is at the same time that mass layoffs are being announced. So get ready for it, because it's here. It's here. Anyway, share this video. Talk about these subjects. As far as I'm concerned, these are positive events that are happening, because they can really only lead to one of two directions, which is more warfare, which we can't afford to do, as I just said, or it will lead to us having to engage in diplomacy, treating other countries as equals. That is the direction that we really have to go, like it or not. Americans are suffering, Europeans are suffering, Canadians, and on and on. You look at how much gas and oil and energy cost right now and how that affects everything downstream. We can't keep doing this. All right, so again, share this video, talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.